Something happened to me today, and I want to share it with you because I think it speaks really deeply to the importance of listening to our bodies and living in harmony and in flow with our authenticity and honoring where we're at. And it speaks to the consequences of living in dissonance from how you really feel. Because we get lost in our minds and the stories that that mind creates and writes and sends itself out on way too easily. And when we do this, when we lose ourselves in the stories of our minds, we're living in an abstraction from reality. That's what the mind often is. That's what the mind is often characterized by, is abstractions from reality. And when you live solely in that story, that concept, that model you've built for yourself, when you live in that story alone, you begin to lose touch with the other qualities of yourself, the other levels of yourself, being your body and your spirit and your heart. And what results from this is a lot of negativity, a lot of stuff that starts to billow out and boil over. So if you're new to this channel or not, I'm a generally very upbeat, happy, eccentric, positive, expressive, passionate kind of guy. I'm not a negative Nancy, I'm not pessimistic, I'm not doom and gloom. I'm very upbeat. I'm very upbeat and expressive and loving and compassionate and humorous and all these high vibe qualities. But for the past 3 days of my life, guys, I've been experiencing, or I was experiencing, the most intense anxiety that I've ever experienced. And I didn't know why I was experiencing it. Now, this wasn't just like, oh, I'm overthinking something and I have anxiety from it. This wasn't just normal general anxiety. This was really intense. Like, anxiety is the only word I can use to describe it, but it was just this really intense, like, it felt like my nerves were shot all of a sudden. And see, I woke up 3 days ago and I went to work. It was like a Tuesday, I think, because today is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, today's Thursday, so Tuesday morning I woke up and I went to work, and slowly this weight of anxiety began to ring down on me. And I didn't know what it was in reference to. I thought it was, like generally the way that I work and from the practices that I've developed in my life, when a negative emotion comes up, I'm like, oh, and I kind of get out of its way and I let it move by because that's what they want to do. And that's what I teach on the channel, right? Is that the emotions come up, you get out of their way and you let them roll by because that's what they want to do. Emotions are energy in motion. So when I felt this anxiety on this first Tuesday morning as it started to kind of mount within my body, I was like, oh, kind of just let it go, I'm not in the highest mood, I'm not in the highest frequency right now, okay, so let it go. But, long story short, it lasted all day. I was anxious, paranoid, nervous, worried, concerned, tense, frustrated, all day. And I didn't know why. And I couldn't get out of it because, as you all know, if you could just get out of what you're feeling, we'd all be happy as hell right now. I couldn't just pluck myself out of it. It was a feeling that was situated within my body, and I couldn't do anything about it. So now, my mind was going, well, what is this? Why is this here? Why am I feeling like this? What is all this anxiety? Why am I so worried? Nothing's like wrong. Nothing's going on here. What am I so like spun out about? So I got home and I was like, geez, that was a long day, man. That was kind of a rough day, and just kind of brushed it off, like whatever. I guess we just have those kind of days sometimes, you know. I'll bounce out of it, you know. This too shall pass. It all moves, all flows, nothing lasts, you know. Kind of reiterating to myself that this isn't gonna last, right? So I wake up yesterday, the Wednesday, yesterday, and you know that feeling when you're like, you know, let's say a loved one has passed away, or you were in a relationship and you guys broke up, and when you're dreaming, you're dreaming about being with them still, and then when you wake up, it's like this excitement, but then the reality sinks back in that they're gone. I'm sure you've been there. When I woke up yesterday morning, that's what happened. I was like chilling, like and I normally have a really high vibe, like morning routine where I sort of like set into this groove of flow and abundance and love and prosperity and joy and upliftment, you know, fun. I don't even know if upliftment is a word, but joy, nevertheless. But yesterday morning I woke up and I started to come up, and then it was like, ooh, this weight, this shadow just kind of pressed back down on me and said, not so quick, bro. We got some shit we're worried about. We're nervous. We're worried. We're anxious. We're not okay. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. That was what my mind and that's what my body was telling me. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. And so now it's like an intrusive thought. Now I'm not just anxious, I'm anxious about the anxiety. Now I'm like, dude, what is this? Why am I like stuck in this like rut of like panic and like paranoia? This isn't like me. Why am I just tripping out all of a sudden? And so now I'm trying to ignore it, right? Now I'm trying to pay no mind to it. You know, an unwelcomed guest leaves soon, you know, and like trying to let it go. But by letting it go, I'm trying to get rid of it. And the way the mind works, you can't just kind of push shit away. It's a self-fulfilling, self-validating system where the mind works on lack of resistance. So the fact that I'm resisting the anxiety is causing it to persist. As Carl Jung suggested, what you resist persists. So now, day 2, I'm trying to resist this anxiety. I'm saying, dude, what is this? I don't want to do a whole nother day 2 of being all anxious as hell. So now I'm really starting to like inquire into what is this? Why am I so anxious? Why is this anxiety? Like, am I just overthinking something, you know? And I started thinking about, you know, my girlfriend, like the relationship I'm in. I'm like, what? Like, is there something wrong here? Like, what am I tripping out about? I started thinking about my life. I started thinking about my YouTube. I started thinking, am I like tired of work? Am I burnt out? What the hell is going on here? And nothing jived. Nothing felt like the answer. Not only could I not find the way out, but I couldn't find the sort of causal reason why I was anxious at all. I didn't know why I was so tripping out. I didn't know why I was so like anxious. So at the end of day 2, when I went home, bro, I had no idea why I was anxious all day again. Let me, you know, mind you, I was anxious all day for day 2 as well. And now I was starting to get really nervous because my least favorite quality of negative emotions and negative moods is the way it bleeds out into my outer relationships. So now I'm worried that when I'm talking to my girlfriend or my mom or my brother or my friends that it's gonna like fuck with the vibe of that. Now I'm nervous that I'm gonna start messing around with the external situations in my life because I'm not on a high vibe, right? Because when you're on a low vibe, you act in low vibe ways. So at the end of day 2, I'm exhausted and frustrated. I'm like, what is this? Why am I tripping out? On day 3 of the anxiety, that's today. I woke up this morning, you know, and at the end of yesterday, in the evening, I had a meditation with myself, man. I was like, listen, like whatever you're here for, You're here, you're trying to tell me something. I caught wind of the fact that my body's trying to talk to me right now. I realized, okay, this is here for a reason, and I need to honor this. I need to be here with this worry. Even though it feels like crap, even though it's really uncomfortable, I need to allow this. Because I can't run from my own head. So I need to allow and soften into and let go into. So guys, I kind of felt a little bit better in the evening, yesterday evening, and I woke up this morning. Same thing, I woke up kind of on a good vibe, and then boom, right back down into anxiety, worry. At this point, my nerves are shot. I'm already like not feeling it. Right as the morning starts, and it's the last day of the work week for me, so I'm like, another whole 10-hour day of work, and I go into work and I'm trying to like listen to my videos and listen to my music and just kind of ignore the fact that I'm anxious and I don't know why, and I can't like get out of it. So it got to the point I worked for about 2 hours, 3 hours. And it got to the point that anxiety came back on and it reared its head again. And now I'm just anxious, anxiety, anxiety. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? So what I did is I gave up. I said, I don't know what's wrong. The past 2 days I've been trying to think and rationalize what's wrong. And this morning I said, I don't know what's wrong. I give up. I don't know what's wrong with I don't know why I'm feeling this. And suddenly there was this flip. There was this flip where I realized that what's wrong is everything that's been going on in my life recently. All of which you have nothing, you don't know anything about. And I'm about to share with you what's been going on. See, my grandfather is dying. A few months ago he had pancreatitis, and then shortly thereafter he fractured a rib and then was in the hospital, and the pain got really bad, and he started to heal and was able to come home, and long story short, he refractured it, and not to be too graphic with you guys, but I live with my grandfather. First of all, I should have added that. I live with my grandfather at his farmhouse, and I was upstairs doing something a month or so ago, and I heard him yelling my name. So I'm like, what the hell is this? So I go downstairs, and this is at like 9 at night. And I go into his room, and he's like completely naked, collapsed, like across the bed, and he can't get up, and I needed to help pick him up, right? Okay, so the next day, and can you feel my kind of distance from the stories I'm sharing? The next day, I texted him in the morning, because I went to work, and I was like, yo, let me know how you're doing, Papa, and he didn't answer me. And come to find out, when I got home at 4:30, he was, just to be completely honest with you guys, he had fallen on the floor, and he was completely naked, and he was covered in pee and poop, and he was, like in agony, and I had to call the ambulance, and the ambulance came, and, my grandfather, I'm related to people that are related to my grandfather that are generally very toxic people, so I've been engaging with them a lot, and what's resulted from that is that I'm being kicked out of this farmhouse, against my will, so I'm being forced to find a place to live, which I haven't yet. I came home a couple weeks ago, or almost a month ago now, to a notice of vacancy saying I have 30 days to get out, or the law will get involved, And this is all my family doing this to me, right? And, I have a job that's not necessarily paying me an ideal amount of money to be able to financially support myself. And it just suddenly hit me. I said, oh, the reason I'm anxious is because of everything that's going on in my fucking life right now. I went to see my grandfather just Monday, and he was in the hospital bed, writhing in physical pain, and we got word that he's requested to stop taking his meds, his medications, so that he can die naturally, because he wants to die. And throughout all of this, I've been very stoic, very seemingly grounded, emotionally neutral. You may call it emotionally distant, but see, here's the thing, is I'm not... When I came home to my grandfather, naked, collapsed on the floor in a pile of his own excrement, I didn't like mindfully be like, okay, we're going to compartmentalize that in my subconscious mind and deal with it later, because right now I can't deal with it, you know? And see, I've been on my life has completely transformed within the past 6 months. Something I'm going to make a video about here soon is how much my life has changed. I'm full-time on YouTube. I've been traveling around the country. I've become grounded in my own life and in my own frame of reality in a way that I never thought was possible. I'm in a relationship with a beautiful girl, in a blossoming, blooming connection. I feel that there's been a complete identity shift on an identity level, an energetic self level, where my life has completely changed. So I've been on a very high vibration. But contrasting to that vibration is what's going on around me. There's all this white water around me. There's death. There's toxicity. There's narcissism. There's financial scarcity. There's a feeling of not being home, not having a home anymore. All this wild shit. And throughout all of it, I've just been still like happy, vibing, joyous, like, so this too, this is life, okay, right, you know, just kind of going with it. And I'm not mindfully dismissing it, I'm not distancing myself from it by any stretch of the imagination. I just didn't feel like it impacted me in a way where I need to sob or panic or freak out or anything. But there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life right now. And this morning I realized, like, oh, this anxiety is because of the state of my life right now. And how much is going on. And how much things have changed. And how sort of unsafe I feel. And how my grandfather is dying. And the things that I've seen, you know? And the toxicity of my family. My very family, where when death kind of pops up, people start showing their real colors, you know? I'm sure you have experience with this. And the anxiety immediately transformed into sadness. And I started sobbing my eyes out at work. Like, crying in a way that I haven't cried in a long time. And it felt so good. It felt so cathartic and so visceral. And I found why I was anxious. It never crossed my mind that the reason this anxiety was mounting was because there was something that wasn't being tended to. And what I wasn't tending to was the sort of emotional indigestion of what's been going on in my life. I've been so high vibe that I haven't been tending to the tenderness of my own heart and my own inner child. And this anxiety, this seemingly formless anxiety that I couldn't pinpoint or put a face to, was my body literally talking to me. It was saying, notice me, please, notice me. Something's wrong. And see, when your child is going through some shit, and you're the parent, they don't want to have to tell you what's wrong. Matter of fact, when they're a baby, they can't. You as a parent need to possess the emotional maturity and mental discernment to be able to diagnose what's wrong with your child. And yes, it's hard, but it's necessary. It's a responsibility that you have as a parent. And see, the anxiety of my body, it doesn't speak in words. And I notice that where I've been living, it is in that mental abstraction from reality. Reality being my body, the thing that is grounded in this moment. As you watch this video and hear me, this is the moment. But the mind is telling an alternative story, and we get lost very easily and very often in that mind. And I've been off in high vibe la la land for the past few months, not paying attention to the state of my body and all of the emotional impact, and I guess you could say trauma, for lack of a better term, reasserted itself. It popped up all at once. And within 3 days, my nerves were shot, I was exhausted, and I was at a loss for what the hell was going on. And this morning, I just gave up and I was like, what's wrong, man? I don't know. And in a single instant, like I just shared with you, it occurred to me, oh, my life is f***ing crazy right now. And it was in that moment that, like I said, the anxiety translated over into grieving and catharsis and purging. This huge purging took place. And I started crying my eyes out, and it felt so good. And I started like envisioning, like, dude, I'm gonna finish what I'm doing here at work, and I'm gonna leave, because I want to go like sit by some water and honor me. Because we don't do that a lot, especially when we feel negative. We don't honor our feelings. It makes me want to well up right now as I'm talking about it. When we feel what I was feeling within the last 3 days, when we feel that shit, we try to get rid of it, get out of it. We reach for a substance, we reach for a person, we reach for food, we reach for an activity, we reach for the phone to scroll. We distract ourselves from ourselves. And all it does is push it down for later. But see, I am somebody that I live in such accordance with reality or myself or whatever the hell you want to call it, that I can't do that for long. I can't distract myself from how I feel. There's a constant setting back into myself. And that's what happened today. Was I realized, oh, the reason my nerves are shot and the reason I'm anxious as all hell right now is because my life is wild. My life is in complete turmoil right now. That feeling of everything falling apart. And so what happened was I left work, and instead of going to the water, I went and hung out with my beautiful mother. If you watch my live streams, you know her as the spiritual witch. I went over to her house and we spent time together and we talked. And I feel much, much better now. The fact not only that I've been able to pinpoint what this anxiety was, but moreover the fact that I honored myself. Think about the damage you're doing by ignoring how you feel. And this video isn't going to be able to last much longer because my camera's going to overheat or whatever, so I'm going to like end up wrapping it up. But I want you to ask yourself this. If you feel anxious, a persistent anxiety or nervousness or depression or sadness or anger or frustration or nihilism, thinking in a negative way, I want you to ask yourself, Is there an area of your life? Is there an area of your heart, of your body, of your inner child that needs tending to? What are you ignoring? What are you dismissing? What are you not paying attention to? What are you suppressing? And when it pops up, the thing that you know you're suppressing, stop suppressing it. It's time to feel it. This is how we grow, guys. We don't grow by ditzing through our life from one hedonistic pleasure to the next. When they talk about shadow work, when they talk about spiritual transformation, when they talk about self-healing, it's not fun. It's hard. It's dark. It's gross. It's scary. It's intense. It's why so many of us are addicted to drugs and sex and porn and horrible food and going out and doing meaningless, boring shit. It's because we don't know how to handle ourselves. We don't know how to handle life. And life doesn't wait for you to have your stuff together to get intense. So life demands you to either live in reality and live in harmony with you and life, or to suffer to an unbearable extent because you can't afford to live in reality. You think you can't handle it. You're denying, you're resisting, you're suppressing, you're pushing away, you're pretending, you're living in denial, you're acting like you're fine. Every time you act like you're fine, dude, you're calling yourself stupid. You're damaging your nervous system. You're damaging your body, mind, and soul. And this is the other and probably final point that I wanted to make in this video. What that anxiety was the intelligence of my body. That was God talking to me. Mr. Devin, Northwood Shaman, the high vibe YouTuber guy, who's often like manifestation, abundance, love, let's grow, let's be creative, living in that realm. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I was ignoring my body. I was ignoring the emotional intensity and the emotional turmoil of my life. I wasn't tending to it. And so over 3 days, a seemingly persistent, unbearable anxiety began to mount and grow at a very rapid rate within my body. And it's wild to me that was literally my body talking to me saying, dude, I need you. I need your attention. Please notice me. Acknowledge me. I can't tell you what's wrong because me, the body, doesn't speak in words like you, the mind. I speak in feelings. And it's time to get down and get real with your feelings. So this anxiety was a manifestation of a different quality or aspect of myself asking for my mind's attention. It's trying to create mind-heart coherence. Body-mind-heart coherence. Because what we do is the mind gets out of whack, the heart gets out of whack, the body gets out of whack, and we're completely unaligned. So we get jammed up. As my mom calls it, it's emotional constipation. And when you align that shit, when the spirit understands and is in communication with the body and the mind and the heart, you align, and when you align, you're able to flow. Think about it. When you come into alignment, you see, everything's out of alignment. When you come into alignment, it's able to flow. Everything's able to flow. You're not constipated anymore. Mentally, physically, spiritually, you're chilling, dude. And what my body did today was beg for my attention. And when I let go, I realized what was wrong. And see, the reason I was afraid to face it was because I thought it was low vibe. And how, the way it's spoken in spiritual, manifestation language is you don't want to resonate on a low vibe, man. So when you feel the low vibes, you got to kind of like alchemize it and transmute it into positivity and think of love and abundance and joy and fun and creativity. But you know what I realized today? And it wasn't even like a big realization. It was a reminder of something I've already known but continuously forget. What I realized today was that it's more negative to think in that way and say, no, think positive. Don't deal with that negativity. Don't deal with those negative feelings. That's more negative than it is to feel the negativity. Feeling the negativity in its full force is more positive than thinking positively and trying to push away what you're actually feeling. It's more positive, more authentic, more real, more genuine, and more magnetic to feel the truth of how you're feeling. Your body is begging for it. Okay? I could go on for the next 30 minutes talking about this, but my camera's about to die, unfortunately, or overheat or whatever. But what I want to say is stop thinking that it's negative or low vibe to feel your negative emotions. By feeling your negative emotions, you're allowing yourself, you're acknowledging yourself. And that's the most positive, genuine, authentic thing you could do. And it may be exactly what your body, like me today, is screaming for. Is you to come off your fucking spiritual high horse and feel the reality of how you feel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. This was a kind of raw, personal, but maybe you needed to hear it today. So much love to you guys, and I will see you all in the next video.